What's up, man?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. I turned the camera on if you want to smile and say hey.
That's exactly what I wanted.
I'll edit
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Confirmation Parent Orientation meeting. If you're not here to that meeting, you're in the wrong place. But we're excited you're all here today. My name is Hank Hilliard, and I am the Director of Youth Ministries here at Franklin First United Methodist. And a couple housekeeping things to get started. We have a sign-in sheet going around, so if you would please sign in on that to let us know that you are here. And also, in a little while, we're going to be talking about how to register. Registration opens today. If all goes as planned, well, you should have already got an email about that if you're on our email list. If things go as planned, you should get an email today at 11:30 that has the link to registration on it, and so you can actually open it up during the meeting or after the meeting and register your child if you feel like you're ready. I want to introduce our team members, most of whom are here today. First of all, the team meets almost year-round. We take summer off, but we come back in August and we start planning for the next confirmation class. They usually graduate the first weekend in May, and then we meet once before summer even hits to start planning next year. So it's almost a year-round process, and they all do amazing work. And so I want to just lift them up, and they'll be up here helping lead the meeting today as well. First, we have Cindy Delaney, right there. We have Angela Overstreet, Sarah Cardy, Katie Burt. Where's Chris? There you go. Chris Hamlin, and we have Matt McCarty over here. And we also have who couldn't be here today? Beth Jacobs couldn't be here today. I think she went to the Mississippi State game this weekend. That was probably worth the trip since they ended up going out in that shocker against A&M. And Amanda Knauer is also on the team. Some of these folks have been doing this for years and years and years, and some of them are brand new. So Cindy and Matt are both joining the team this year. So, and we just ask you as you go through this experience, if it's something that really connects with you and you feel like, hey, I really want to be a part of that in the future, please let us know, because we're always looking to have people who can help in a variety of ways. Also want to acknowledge there's probably a lot of different feelings in the room today. Some of you may have already had a kid go through confirmation and you can't wait to sign your next kid up. For some of you, this may be your first experience with confirmation. You have no idea what it is, or you may be anxious or even a little nervous. This is the first year Amy and me have two kids here in 7th grade, and they're eligible to go through confirmation, and we're still having the conversations about whether they're going to sign up or not. So maybe this meeting will sway her one way or the other. So we do want to acknowledge that we know there's a lot of different feelings today, and we hope that through this meeting, if you have some questions, that you're able to get the information that you need to be able to make the right decision for your family. And the decision that you make for your family may be right, and it may be different from the person sitting next to you. So we don't expect everybody to make the same decision, whether their child is ready or whether this is the right time. Also, if you're standing, I think we have some extra chairs out in the hallway. If you don't want to stand up the whole time, you can grab some of those chairs. We also have a few empties scattered through here. So what is confirmation? We could stand up here and tell you what it is, but there is a guy who makes awesome videos for the United Methodist Church, and his name is Chuck, and he has a video series called Chuck Knows Church, and he's got one called What is Confirmation, and so we thought Chuck could do a lot better job of explaining it than we can in a fun way. So we're going to watch a short video And then we're gonna hit all different parts of the experience, and different leaders will come up and share. Most of what we share is in the brochures that you have out there, so feel free to kind of follow along in there. But let's start off by hearing from Chuck. And I hope my speakers are loud enough. I tested it the other day with no one in the room, so hopefully you'll still be able to.
Church confirmation refers to the intentional commitment that a person makes to his sponsor to come and visit from the baptismal vows. That's usually done during worship. The person being confirmed is called a confirmand. Most often a youth who has been raised and nurtured in the church since their baptism has been. Now, most churches offer organized confirmation classes where the confirmands learn about the meaning of Christian faith. See, when an infant is baptized, I profess my faith, and also that I am in great need of a diaper change. Very effective. Instead, the infant must be nurtured and matured because Methodist believes conscious faith and intentional commitment are necessary. The individuals may have been baptized as infants, but then later they also claim as their own the faith that the church proclaims on their behalf. Now, this is done deliberately through these confirmation classes. Now, the focus is on an understanding of Christian doctrines, spiritual disciplines, and what a life of discipleship actually means. Now, the hope is to lead the confirmands to personally heed the calling of God, to profess Jesus Christ as Savior, and to embrace the Christian faith. Now, it should be remembered, confirmation is not an entrance into church membership. This was already done through baptism. Instead, it's the person's first public affirmation that the faith of the church is also their own faith. In other words, the confirmand is taking responsibility for living as a member of the body of Christ and for fulfilling God's purpose. To learn more, you can ask your pastor. Yes.
Do any of you recognize the background there? That's Brentwood UNC. It's the background there. So I always get my name is Angela Overstreet. I have 3 children, ages 16 and 2 that are 13, boys that are twins, that have all 3 gone through confirmation. And I started assisting in confirmation the year before my daughter went through, and have loved it so much that they can't get rid of me. I don't know if they want to try, but they can't. But I'm going to just kind of reiterate. I always get to go between Chuck and Pastor Lynn, so it's just a stressful thing for me to do. But just kind of reiterate what he says and kind of set up what Pastor Lynn's going to kind of explain to you. And that's, what is confirmation? And it's really our response of faith to the gracious covenant in which God baptizes us. And we use the word confirmation really to describe the class that leads to the ritual of confirmation. So confirmation in itself is a ritual that we do. There's a service that we do where we're confirmed. But the process leading to that, we still also call confirmation, which is what your children are hopefully going to engage in. It's where they learn and process how they're going to profess their own faith. Until this point, where do they receive their faith beliefs from? Our parents, our community, our friends. And this is where they get to question and learn and process through. What is it that I believe? What is it that the United Methodist Church believes? What is this that I'm about to do and to confirm? And a lot of times, it's the first chance that they have to really start to think, as critical thinkers that they are, what that means and what that looks like. You're going to hear, as you did in the video, you're going to hear us say, you'll probably hear many say today, your children are going to hear us say it for 4 or 5 months. This is not a beginning to an end. This is not something we're going to start and then finish. There is no confirmation to the services, the graduation. This is a process of faith that your children are beginning and will continue through for the rest of their lives. Any questions on what confirmation is before your testimony? No? Okay. Is he ready?
Well, we're having some sound issues, so we
Okay.
should have made postpone the video.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
Well, hello, I'm Cindy Bellini, and I know most of you. I have taught most of your kids in either choir or I've been through Created by God, or I've been in Sunday school, so I thought this was just a natural journey for me to continue. This is my first year with confirmation, and I'm very excited, but being one of the newbies, I still don't know everything. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about what I do know. On the inside of your bulletin, it has the red front. Okay, I'm just going to highlight a few things. I'm looking at student requirements. Your confirmands will be asked to sign a covenant saying that yes, they agree to these things. And as Hank said, just because they agree to go through confirmation doesn't mean that they actually have to be confirmed. Throughout our lessons, they may realize, I'm not ready for this. That is okay. Going through confirmation does not secure our place in heaven. It's just a step that we can take on our faith journey, but our salvation is only in Jesus Christ. I want to make sure that we all understand that, okay? So we will have classes each Sunday at 10 o'clock. And your confirmand has to earn 16 credits, so each class is 1 credit. We do have 2 Sunday night classes where you get 1.5 credits. Okay, so there are opportunities if things come up and you can't be here, you may miss because we have more than 16 classes. Okay, so we do have that. We ask that they pray daily so that they can begin that habit of going to God when things are good, going to God when things are not so good, and going to God when it's just ho-hum. Because it's a relationship that we want them to build. We ask that they read Scripture at least 3 times a week because God's Word is a lamp unto our feet and it is our guidance and our direction. It's how we learn who God is through Scripture. It's His Word. When we come to class, we ask that they participate fully and that they are respectful to everyone in the class. I know we'll be split up into 2 different classes, so I'm not sure how we're going to do that yet this year. But even if you're in a class with people that you don't go to school with, try to make friends and participate. When we're talking, I mean, this goes without saying, no side conversations, okay? Because you may understand what's going on, but the person next to you may not. So just kind of make sure you instill that in your children. I know most of them, so that we shouldn't have a problem there. We will have a confirmation retreat January 6th and 7th. And then we will have another retreat right before we have our service in May to confirm them. That'll be May 6th. And we ask that they attend both of those. They need to attend at least 1 Wednesday night live before April the 19th. Many of them are already in a Wednesday night live class, so that's perfectly fine. We have many opportunities if they aren't, so they just come once, and I think they'll love it. They're going to ask them to secure a faith friend, and Chrissy's going to talk about that later, so I'm just going to mention that. Attend worship regularly at FFUMC as a family. So it's important for them to see that you're going as well. We do have a 2-hour service project, and that's something that they can do with their faith friend. They can do it here at church or somewhere in the community, but we ask that this not be in conjunction with something else they're already doing for school or for another organization. So we've got that. Then we also will have an interview with a staff member that comes towards the end of this process, and we'll send out information about that. We'll have like a sign-up genius or something where they go in and sign up for the interview. But that will, more information will come later. And then we have cell groups, which will happen weekly, and Chrissy then will talk about that later, so I'm gonna let him do that. So any questions on the student requirements? I think they're pretty straightforward. Okay, parent requirements. One thing that I don't think we as a church can say enough is that you, whether you believe it or not, research has shown that you are the most influential aspect in your child's life. Now, at the age that our kids are, and my daughter's your age, or your kids' ages, and my son's older, we think sometimes it comes more from friends or from coaches or something like that, but that is not the case. So you are the most influential person in your child's life. Your teen's faith will mirror your faith. So one of the things I try to tell myself every day is be who I want my child to be. And that's so hard, because I want her to be better than me. But that's one of the things. So we ask that you role model what we're asking the kids to do. So pray with them daily, or let them see you praying. You read scripture as well. You get involved in Sunday school. You get involved in Wednesday Night Live. You make coming to church an expectation of, you know, we're doing this. We're doing this as a family. God bless you. Okay? We do have several opportunities. If you're not already in a Sunday school class, on Sundays we've got Explore Franklin First, which meets, Sarah, what time does it meet? Is it at 10? Explore?
It's at 8:45 and 10.
8:45 and 10. That's an 11. It's an 11-a-week class, and it just explores our church, but also the Methodist faith, if you aren't familiar with that. If you've already done that, or you are already in a Sunday school class, that's fine. But if you want something else, Sarah can definitely guide you to where you can go. And then we will have a Wednesday Night Live class for this group if you are interested. And if you look at the bottom, those are some of the topics we'll discuss: how to tell your story, how to be a spiritual leader, raising teens in an almost Christian world. So we will have a class just for us who have kids going through confirmation. If you're already involved in something, great, keep doing that. But if you would like to try this and get to know some of the parents of the kids who are also going through confirmation with you, we have that. Any questions? Yay! I'm excited about this journey with you guys. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, I'm going to speak next about the role of the church, and then we're going to try to see if we got the video working okay. So the role of the church is, first of all, that we will provide you amazing teachers to your students who come every week prepared. Everything is planned. Everything is ready to go. We have some great resources that we're using that are all United Methodist-based resources, and every year we go through and we update and we change and improve the lessons and just learn from what we did the year before. So just know that we're working really hard to make every Sunday morning valuable and meaningful for your students. We also have some 4 field trips throughout the year, and those are really, for a lot of the kids, really one of their favorite and most meaningful experiences. I think we'll talk a little bit more about those as well. But that's another great way for youth to learn about their faith through experiencing the faith of other churches. Like I said, the teachers will be prepared. The material is sound, deeply rooted Wesleyan theology, stuff that your kids are going to be learning. But another really, really important thing that we do is try to make this a safe space for your kids, and Cindy hit on that a little bit. One of the most valuable parts of the class is for the kids to be able to interact with each other and share what they think, and share questions that they have, and maybe a doubt that they have experienced. So we want this to be a place for them not just to get all the information dumped into them and regurgitate it back, but be able to really process through that and ask teachers questions and ask their faith friends questions. And because, as Chuck said in the video, this is the chance for them to own their faith. And so the church is going to walk alongside them through this experience, but Also, and you guys are the church. We're the church together. We want to walk with them long beyond confirmation, and so that's the goal. The goal of this is to really jumpstart, and you'll hear, we get the video working, you'll hear Pastor Lynn talk about that this really is about, if you see it, it's like graduating kindergarten and moving on to a lifelong journey. And so that's the biggest role that the church plays. So I'm going to try the video. If it doesn't work, Chris, you're on board. You know what I mean? So let's see if we got the sound now. We have two options we're going to try.
My experience in confirmation.
All right, so now that it's working, I'm going to set it up real quick. Obviously, this is our old space. Pastor Lynn obviously couldn't be here today because of worship. So we filmed Pastor Lynn last year, and he's going to share with you his expectations about confirmation. About the first 30 seconds of it, he's a little quiet because he didn't have the lavalier mic on, and you'll see Angela in the corner turning to me to tell me to come up here and bring him the microphone, and I'll bring it, and then it's all good.
And then let me share with you my expectations as one of your pastors in confirmation. Because we have expectations of you as parents in this process, and I don't want to take anybody else's what they're going to say. I went through 3 confirmation classes. And some of you probably think it still hasn't taken effect, but I went through 3. And the first time I went through confirmation, when it ended, and they asked us, were we ready to make a commitment to Jesus and the church? Am I not doing right? Well, I need this for the video, sorry. My name is Lynn Hill. Okay, that's all right. And when we ended the class and we were invited to join the church, I didn't feel like I was ready to make that commitment. And so I said no. The only one in my class to say no. I went through the second confirmation class, and when that confirmation class ended, and we were asked to make the commitment, and again, not being what I thought was ready, I said no. Again, the only one in the class to say no. I went through the third confirmation class, and it's the same pastor that's there. I went through the third confirmation class. And before we got to the end of it, the pastor asked to see me. And he said, you know, you've been through 2 of these, and you've said no twice. I anticipate you're going to say no again. I just want to know why. And he was right. I was going to say no again. And I said to my pastor, I don't feel like I know all the answers. Now, they've been saying through confirmation, it's not knowing all the answers. And I said, I don't think I know all the answers. And in effect, I was saying, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think that I have all the answers. I'm not ready. And my pastor said to me, what you need to understand is, and this is what Chuck said, what you need to understand is confirmation is the beginning of a lifelong journey. In confirmation, you have to be ready to say to God, I'm ready to begin that journey. I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect even after confirmation, but I'm ready to begin the journey. So that was a long time ago. For some of you, it was before you were born. I made that commitment and I made that journey. And so from that day to this day, my commitment to God has been, just give me enough faith for today. We'll worry about tomorrow. Just let me know that you're with me. So the decision that your child will be asked to make is the most important decision in your child's life. Now I'm going to repeat that for emphasis. The decision your child is going to be asked to make is the most important decision in your child's life, bar none. Now, second may be the person that your child chooses to marry. That may be the second one, but it's a distant second from this one. Because the commitment that your child is being asked to make is to give their life to Jesus, to live the life of a Christian, not to be perfect, not to have all the answers, but to know who they are and whose they are, and unashamedly say, I am a follower of Jesus. And their life is forever changed. The decision your child is being called upon to make has eternal ramifications. You with me? Eternal ramifications. So that's what your child is being asked to do. What's your role as parents? Your role as parents is to help them to understand by your love and your support is secondary. And it goes away. There's nothing which your child is involved in any shape, form, or fashion is remotely as important as confirmation. That means then that if there's a conflict between something else and confirmation, whatever that conflict is goes away. Goes away. Unimportant. It's all the games where your child is no longer on the team. Parents, you have to say, Coach, you have your goals, you have your priorities, you have your stuff, and we respect that. Coach, my child's involved in their eternal understanding of who they are and whose they are. Thank you, Coach, but my child will not be there. I didn't get an amen. I've got a lot of deer in the headlight look from some parents. Do you hear what I'm saying? And if you as parents do not put your child in that position to say no to the coach, that's your job. And you go to the coach and you say, Coach, it's been good to be with you. I don't see many 80-year-olds or 90-year-olds playing soccer or travel baseball or rock climbing at 90 years old. But I do see a lot of 90-year-olds who have an amazing faith and trust in Jesus Christ. So whatever it is that your child is involved in, if it is a conflict between that and full participation in confirmation, whatever that is, as parents, you remove it from your child. You take that responsibility. And just, it may well be that you making that faith statement may help the coach. And it may help other children that are involved in that. Because what I've discovered is that unless and until Christians stand up and say, we're not going to play on Sunday, we're not going to practice on, it's going to continue to go and go and go. But when you as parents, on behalf of your children, say to the coach or to whomever else it is, no, my child will not be there, that may just very well be that which is necessary to begin making a change. So my expectations of you as one of your pastors is that you see what your child is being invited to be a part of as the most important decision in their life. And if as parents you are not ready to support your child in every conceivable way in making that decision, then the best thing to do now is to say, there are other priorities in our life that's more important than this, and my child will not be a part of the confirmation class. Just say it. Whatever the other is, and I'm not, I'm not condemning anybody. We just own it. This is more important than confirmation. And our response is, and this is not the year for you to participate in confirmation. There'll be other years. There'll be other times. We're not kicking you out of heaven. We're not kicking you out of the church. We're just saying that your priorities right now don't match the importance of what this time together is. And we just own it. So please don't ask the teachers and Hank and all the others to make exceptions. Okay? Just don't ask them. You know now what's expected. You got the schedule. So please don't call Hank and say, oh, but this is the triathlon of the quarterfinals or whatever it is, Hank has my permission to say to you, well, you know, next year, you know, there's next year. And we'll just wait and let your child be a part of next year. Because we're not going to make exceptions. How many excuses do they get, Hank? Okay, if I was leading this, your student would have one. And that would mean intensive care at Williamson Medical Center or come for viewing at Williamson Memorial. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's that important. It's that important. And unless and until you as parents are willing to see and understand it's that important, then don't put your child through it. Now, this is the third time I've given this speech. And every time I give this speech, Hank says that half the class is ready to have me transferred to another church. And that's okay. But I want you to understand how important I think this is. It is a matter of eternal significance. There is nothing else in which your child participates that comes close to the eternal significance of this confirmation class. Now, I'm going to pause and say, you got any questions? If you want to take issue with that, if you want to say I'm an old fogey out of touch with reality, or whatever you want to say, I'll be glad to hear your comments. And they're always quiet at this point, too. Have I been clear? Hank, have I been clear? Teachers, have I been clear? Well, y'all have a good day. Enjoy your rest of the day. It is a joy to be here. I'm not sure I'll be back after today, but it was a joy to be here to this point. And I turn this over to who?
Is everybody signed in? Zoom or not? Okay. Maybe a few that didn't. So if you didn't, just please sign in. So my name is Chris Hamblin, and this is my, I think, 9th time getting to teach confirmation. And I've been teaching Sunday school up here for about as long as that as well. And I've been in your seats as well as some other folks that are teaching as well. I've got 3 girls, and all 3 have gone through confirmation. The last one just last year. And so I'm here to touch briefly on Faith Friends, and if you guys would please pass the blue, just pass it to everybody. No, this is a separate pamphlet or document than what you've already got. And a lot of the information is already in there, so I'm just going to highlight a couple of things on that. Faith Friends, for those that haven't gone through confirmation before, effectively they're like a mentor or a guide for your confirmand, your student, your son or daughter. And we hope that Faith Friends are people that will be in their lives much longer than just the 5 months or so of confirmation. I know I've had the honor of being a Faith Friend for a few of the confirmands, and it's a great experience, so hopefully maybe some of you have done that as well. There's a lot of information in the brochure. If you go through this, as far as when you find your Faith Friend, there are some basic things they'll have to do. There's a criminal background check. It's not a credit scores or driving records or anything like that. It's just the basic stuff. If you've done volunteer work in the church, you've done this already probably. There's also a Faith Friend training class for those that haven't been Faith Friends before in January, I believe it is. Very simple stuff. And then if they can't make the training, there's actually an online video that they can do as well for that. So that's the basic information. The deadline is January the 18th, so you do have a few days or a couple of weeks after the class starts to get that finished up, but we really ask you to start thinking about that now before it gets too far into the semester of the confirmation. And then the orientation I mentioned is on January the 22nd, which again is in there. Now, with all that said, it's in your pamphlet. We realize this can be a little anxiety-ridden exercise if you've not done this before. So don't let it be. What I mean by that, if you've got people in your life or your child's life that's a member of the church, that they've been through Sunday school with, maybe it was a teacher, maybe it's a friend of another friend kind of scenario, those are all great candidates. In fact, we've had grandparents be Faith Friends. We've had college students be Faith Friends. We do ask that there be, I think we have a 5-year gap. We try to have 5 years between the confirmand and the Faith Friend, just so it's not somebody that's too close to their age. But it's really designed to be someone to go along with them throughout the process. Whether it's the field trips that you'll hear about in a few minutes, They're welcome to come to class on Sunday and sit in. They're not required to, but they're always welcome to do that. But it's somebody that you think would be a good influence on your confirmand throughout the, again, 5 months of the class, but also beyond that. Any questions on that? Because again, this sort of comes up, maybe not today, but later on, but I'm trying to make sure we address the questions you might have foresee coming down the future. But any questions on Faith Friends? And if you don't know who a good candidate might be, and you don't have to decide today, obviously, but start thinking about it, feel free to approach Hank or Emily or Carlisle or even us as the teachers to help. If you're not connected in a Sunday school class or you don't have other connections in the church, if you're new to the church, etc., don't wait too long is all I would encourage you. Don't wait till the last minute kind of thing. Okay? No questions? Yes?
Did I see where they have to be a member, this person?
That's a great question. They don't have to be a member of this church. We do we do recommend that they be Methodist, because a lot of what they're going to be learning is obviously the Methodist heritage, the John Wesley studies and things like that. But they don't have to technically be a member of our church. We've got 2,000 members, so you'd hope we could find someone. But if there's someone they're connected to outside of the church, but they're still Methodist, they're certainly welcome to be a faith friend. Any other questions? Okay. Sarah?
I need to talk to you a little bit about class schedules, and I just want to kind of compliment on what Cindy was saying earlier about the importance and what we're going to be doing for class schedules. So class meets at 10 o'clock, right? Second Sunday school hour, every Sunday. January 8th through May the 7th. So my suggestion would be make sure you take your calendar out, just mark those dates off. We will not have class on Easter Sunday since you will be doing family celebrations on that day. We will let you know when those classes and where those classes will be meeting soon. We're still working out a few details. 10 o'clock is a crowded Sunday school hour, as you know, so we're still looking for a few spaces for those classes to be held. But Hank will notify you where those classes will be held as we approach that date. There's also a Wednesday night that is required, and all of those requirements are listed in your handout there. But on Wednesday nights, we would really encourage your children to attend, because we want them to understand the many offerings that are available to them for their spiritual growth. Not just on Sunday mornings or during the youth activities on Sunday night, but also those Wednesday night experiences. Wednesday nights are one of the best times for your kids to connect in the small groups that are offered here. They'll get great relationships with caring, trusted adults, and they will develop deep covenant relationships amongst each other. So we want to highly encourage that and make sure that as part of your class that they will be attending those. So you can do that. We also want to look at a number of the different topics that your class is going to be offered, and they're listed on page 3 of your handout. But really what you need to know is in confirmation you're going to be using all of the core faith, theology, all that good stuff. They'll learn about the United Methodist Church, but mostly important, they're going to learn about who Jesus is, who God is, who the Holy Spirit is. And if you think they already know it, I'm going to tell you from being in children's ministry for a long time, they've learned this, they've grown up with it. We ask the question about who. Just like when you ask them if they've done something, who? It's the same. So we want to reiterate that, and we want you to ask questions about those different topics. There are also things that you may not know. So this is a great time to participate in that adult class that Cindy was mentioning as well, to make sure that you have those as well in your arsenal, in your faith toolbox as well. The other thing that we want to let you know is about the field trips, and these field trips are not required. Okay, you don't have to go on the field trips, but they will greatly enhance your child's understanding and experience in their Christian growth and development. So those are listed in there as well. So we've got a trip to 61st Avenue, which is our sister church in Nashville. There'll be a dinner that the confirmation class will put together and serve to include servant leaders, as well as attending worship in that space. It's a different kind of United Methodist experience for worship, so we want them to see and understand that. We'll be having the visit to the Catholic Church, which is going to be on a Saturday night service this year, and then also on Friday night we encourage students to go to a Jewish service, so we'll be attending Shabbat services on Friday night down at West End. And this is a great time for them to be able to meet a rabbi, ask questions to a rabbi, questions that they may need to know. And they'll also experience a wonderful service in Hebrew. And they walk away and they spoke a different language in their time. Yes, they did, and Jesus spoke that same language. So we see our faith base when we do that as well. And then we have an experience that we go to Shorter Chapel African Methodist Episcopal Church here in Franklin as well. So they'll get two different Methodist experiences, one within the United Methodist Church and one as part of the greater Wesleyan family. So those experiences are available to them as well. And lastly, make sure that your youth, if they are present for class, we want to make sure that they are here. And the question is, what happens when there is a ski trip or they're in winter on one of those retreats? Well, those are considered present for class. They're receiving a faith-based experience and are participating in something. So those two things are included as presents, so you don't have to take a pass on those. And then also know that those lessons that your children are going to be learning at confirmation are available to you. So if you'd like, you will be able to, if you miss a lesson, just let Hank know and he will get you that lesson. Or depending on the experience, you may be able to talk to one of the teachers, who could possibly meet with your student if they have any questions as well. So do I have any questions about what class is going to be like, experiences, or expectations? Great. Well, we're really looking forward to being with your kids and having them experience this wonderful experience of being part of the church.
Hey,
All right.
Chris, before you go, can I give a quick update?
Yeah.
I do have some dates for the field trips that we didn't have when the brochure was printed. The West End Synagogue trip is going to be Friday, February 3rd. Oh yeah, thanks, Sarah. You can write that down. So West End is Friday, February 3rd, and the service starts at 6. And then the 61st Avenue field trip is going to be Saturday, April 1st. And their worship starts at 6 also. And we'll send you a lot more details on those. But wanted to let you put the dates on there. And just a quick clarification about the Wednesday night class. They're required to come one Wednesday night. So you can pick any. There's not a certain Wednesday night. It's actually better if they don't all come on the same Wednesday night. But we'll have sign-in sheets for them when they do whatever Wednesday night they pick to come to, and they can sign in to make sure that they get credit for being there. Thanks. Sorry, Chris.
All right, and we're almost done, I promise. I know it's kickoff time for some teams here. So one of the last things is cell groups. So this is something that we've always gotten really good. See people taking pictures of that, so I'll get out of the way. Cell groups are something that we've gotten really good feedback on. It's basically something that the kids do in small groups at the end of class each week. So in this case, since we have a 10 o'clock lesson or 10 o'clock class, cell groups will be from 11 o'clock to about 11:15 or 11:20. So as parents, I ask you to be a little flexible with that because they're not going to be able to leave as soon as they're done with class at 11. And what it is, it's about 6 to 8 people per cell group, and they're all the same gender, so it's all boys, girls, etc. And they're usually led by adult volunteers. Not so much teachers, but these are maybe people like yourself, parents of other confirmands. You may or may not want your kid in your cell group, but that's okay. But it's something we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years, and they've gotten really good feedback. So it's just a way for them as a small group to sort of catch up. Not really talk about the lesson, quite frankly, but just catch up on what's going on. Because the thing is, with large groups of confirmation classes like we've had, 60 plus kids, sometimes it's hard to get that, not one-on-one, but small group experiences. So that's what cell groups are for. And again, they'll meet from 11 to 11:20. Any questions on that? I think that's pretty much the net of it.
That's on Sundays, right after?
Yeah, every Sunday, and it's not a mandatory thing. We do encourage, but it's every Sunday after a class. So obviously, we don't have a class like Easter Sunday. We wouldn't have cell groups, but it's every Sunday.
Okay, I just want to quickly mention, do we have any that have high schoolers? Okay, several. That's wonderful. We will do a separate high school class. It'll be offered at the same time, 10 o'clock. There may be a lesson or two that we combine together, especially the 2 lessons that are done on Sunday evenings. We will do those in full groups. but we will have the high schoolers in their separate class at 10 o'clock. And they are invited as well to attend the retreats and the field trips with us too. So you may have any questions? Just wanted to know.
Is this meeting in the, I'm talking about confirmation altogether, is it over in the youth space or do they consume separate?
We are working on as Sarah said, the 10 o'clock hour is very busy in this building at that time, so we're working to determine where that will be, but we will more than likely, we typically meet and kind of gather there. But the kids will know by then. We'll let you know where each group will be. So we'll need at least 3 classes.
Is there a class that the kids go through where someone gets up and talks, kind of like?
Pastor Linden,
Right.
an orientation for the kids.
Well, the
That's how
retreat
it
is kind of
starts.
their
Yeah,
orient.
that's
Yeah,
how it
Pastor
starts.
Lynn speaks to the kids at the opening retreat.
So he'll come in and do that. What's next?
All right. Well, thank you all again for being here, and the confirmation class here, the experience here is really amazing, and it's a big commitment and a lot to do, a lot of sacrifice, but you can do it. We've had, I was looking at the numbers, the last 2 years, I just went back 2 years, but we've had 120 youth confirmed. We've only had 1 drop out, and that's because he moved to California. So you can do it, and I get it. Like Amy and I, we have 2 7th graders, so we may have 2 kids going through confirmation this year. We got 1 kid who wants to try out for lacrosse in the spring, and we've got tennis lessons. We've got all that stuff too, and we have a lot to work out to make sure that our kids, even though I'm here every Sunday because I'm paid to be here, it's a little easier for me. But we know that it's a big commitment, but it's also one that we've seen time and time again, families be able to work it out. We do want you to understand that we know that life happens, and so you'll see these requirements, and I think this year we're offering 20 possible credits through the classes on Sunday morning and Sunday nights, and the kids have to get 16, so basically, you can only miss 3 or 4 times. But if something comes up in the middle that just things fall apart and you need some special consideration, please contact us. Like we had a kid 2 years ago whose grandma died, and she lived in Oregon, and they had to be going out there and taking care of figuring out the house and all this stuff, and he didn't have a choice in that. And it wasn't their fault, and it just happened. Their life kind of fell apart, and we were able to work with that family, and we were able to work with that kid and get him the classes and the credits that he needed. So if something like that comes up, please let us know. Don't just drop out and disappear and think, oh, they're never going to let this happen, or they're not going to work with me, because we will. And our final hope for the kids is that this place, this confirmation class and this youth group and this church becomes a place where they feel like they're known and that they can know other people, and that they feel like they belong. And so a lot of our class, yes, we want them to get the knowledge, and they have to have everything that they need to be able to make this decision, but we also hope through that experience that they're able to really connect. That's one of the reasons why we started cell groups a couple of years ago, so that they have, my son will have 4 or 5 boys that he's meeting with every week, and an adult who they know that cares about them. So registration is open. Did you guys get your email? Okay. Have you checked your email today? Okay, so you got another email today with the link. Also, you can just go to 415youth.com and you can register your child. There's no cost to go through confirmation. You don't have to decide today either. You've got until December 21st to guarantee yourself a spot in the confirmation class. You have plenty of time to have this conversation with your kids, or with, I've already wrote on my schedule. I got to call Tanner's lacrosse coach this week and talk to him about this. So please, if you have any questions or anything, we'll stick around today. You can always email me. If I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer. I'll send it to one of the team members who has the answer as well. So we kick off January 6th and 7th with the retreat. That's a great opportunity for the kids to get to know each other, and they get some great lessons on that retreat as well. And then confirmation, they're going to be confirmed on May 7th. So we're still working out the details on that, but it's at 4:30 and all that's in your brochure. So thank you all again for coming. We'll stick around. If you have any questions, please let us know. And if you have any trouble registering, please let me know as well. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, buddy. Take care, man. Good to see you, man. How are you? Good to see you. You doing all right? I know it.
It's exciting, but it's
I know it's a little overwhelming,
Yeah.
but it'll be good.
It'll be
very
awesome.
good.
It'll be awesome. I just don't want to be that old.
I know. I know.
Hey, good. How are you? I'm trying. I was like, how was your day? I don't have to be in this room. I just looked at Charlie. I was like, on the one hand, I'm like so excited that we're here, and the other hand, you're not here. Oh, hey, we're there together. I get it.
Just somebody other than
I know, she's ready to
it's harder on the
We just love the three boys that they travel together. They're state tournament, filters right now. So we're going to the coaches now. Can I just tell you, it's so easy to stand in front of them and talk about this. I just, she's not married by God. She, first of all, I'm realistic with Joey. If I don't know if that's possible.
You're hoping that
But she got better. And the things that we discussed with them, he would say, very
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yesterday, it's all fresh in the minds and just. Now, why is my heart pounding? I just talked about some really personal things yesterday. Yes, so thank you for doing that. I mean, that's like, I enjoy it.
But it is not, I like the church.
Them coming to church and getting that, yeah. A godly message that goes is the same.
Oh, good. Yes, hey, that one in February, second weekend in February, I think. And Michelle Smith. I have not looked over news. Who's mom? Yes, Gary comes to 8:45. Yes, you know, you have a daughter as well, right? No. Yes, what's her name? Kristen. Okay. The older one. Oh, she's your niece. Okay. Okay. Okay, Samantha. Okay. Because they came in and sat down here. Okay, I'll see you there. Bye. Sure, and then so I saw them together. I was like, well, they kind of look alike. The dark hair, you know. Okay. Amazing. Well, she seems really nice. You know. Yeah. She's in a younger one, so it's going to be okay. All right. Well, I'll be ready. Thank you guys. Thank you. How are you doing?
We just saw your whole family downstairs.
No, I didn't. I did a 6-week class. Bless you. Life's good.
It's functional. I said no.
Are you still living there?
Oh, she was your favorite? Well, no, yeah. She was
Right, well, in all, you know, the ages, yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
Right now,
I love
Dan's
it.
goal is to go to life.
Oh, no, it's good.
You're amazing. Bye, guys.
See you guys, thank you.
What are you doing?
Like I said, we're gonna have them all nailed down by Monday.
We had a good number of people. I think everyone was like, we're getting up and going to church this morning. If anyone is
Jonathan and Mike said we're working on a video for our cross-country
Yeah,
day.
and that's why we try to make sure we have everything moved. Before we release it, so we don't ever have to go back and go, oh, well, no, we're changing it.
Tomorrow's not a
Exactly.
good day, you can't sleep in tomorrow.
You're organized.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just can't get over looking out for you and Lord.
I know, it's amazing. I think that's my kid. It's amazing.
I know, I couldn't remember, because I was like, okay, that's what I was asked one time when I said,
I don't know how to do math. Can you write it down?
Well, now that I know how to do it, I guess I need to stop the camera too. I'm still videoing.
Is there anything you need me to help clean up?
No, I think we're
Okay.
good.
Bye. Oh, thank you.